third series of Ghosts. Now, there was a Christmas special that aired with this particular series that aired on the 23rd of December 2020, and the other 6 episodes were released presumably online via BBC iPlayer or the like on the 9th of August 2021, given this would have been shortly after the COVID-19 pandemic broke out. Now, I do briefly want to speak about the Christmas special, because it did have elements that I did like about it. Now, with the Christmas special, like with Series 3, saw the return of everyone in the cast, including the Coopers themselves, played by Sharon Ritchie and Kiell Smith Bynoe, Lolly Adefope, Katy, and of course the cast of Them There. The Christmas special would see Alison and Mike having to deal with Christmas and inviting over Mike's family, which proves to be a little bit of a palaver with them. I mean, Christmas with family members can often be tricky. It depends on who your family is. But there will be kind of traditions and fights with relatives around Christmas time. But one thing I did like about this was how they ultimately sorted it out. I mean, even with Mike's kind of parents coming over, his sisters coming over with their new child, and the like, they had their own traditions. Like Mum and Dad always do the cooking. Mike always ends up having kind of a bit of a tantrum or a hissy fit and storming out, and like. But one thing I did like was when Mike has this kind of blow up moment, going, "We tried to do something nice for you, and yet you have to do it, and we have to do it this certain way," and he storms off. His father goes and talks to him about it, and I do like how they ultimately sort it out. Because Mike's father ends up reconciling with him and saying, "Do you know why we insist on doing it this way? Like, why your mother and I insist on doing everything at Christmas time? Because we fear the day that we won't be able to do it anymore." This slightly reminds me of a line that Samuel Anderson had in the Doctor Who 2014 Christmas special, Last Christmas, and a moment that Peter Capaldi would later transfer over to with the 2015 Christmas special, The Husbands of River Song. You remember what they say, is that, do you know why people get together at Christmas? It's because that every time they do, it might be the last time. Every Christmas is last Christmas, and this is ours. And to be honest, that can hit hard with a lot of people. Like, you remember Christmases you've had or holidays you've had with people who are no longer with you anymore or who you don't see as often, and it can legitimately make you think. And I did also like the ending that they had with Alison. Whilst she had talked earlier in the episode about doing a carol or something, and the family were going, we're not really interested, she eventually ends up sitting down at the piano, and her and the ghosts end up singing In the Deep Midwinter, which is a very pretty song, and they do it very well here. It does make you feel the kind of spirit of Christmas. Anyway, the rest of Series 3 sees the cast return, and you do get to see some fun storylines with them once again, including a group of kind of filmmakers coming to Button House to film a documentary about the Tudor period, to which we also get to find out in the first episode how Sir Humphrey Bone died. Sir Humphrey Bone being one of the characters played by Lawrence Rickard, to which it said that he was due to be framed for a plot to assassinate Queen Elizabeth I by his wife, so he ended up hiding inside a chimney, and while they at first assumed he was executed by the guards who found him, it's actually revealed that he hid in the chimney. They didn't find him. He came out of the chimney, hit the side of the fireplace, and then two swords came down and decapitated him. Which at the same time is gruesome, but at the same time is kind of rather funny. Anyway. Other episodes in Series 3 would see Mike get a new job as an insurance caller to bring a little extra money to help with the renovations of Button House, to which he finds it difficult. But it does lead to some funny moments later on in the series when he's writing or typing up an email to his boss, and thanks to Julian, played by Simon Farnaby, Julian ends up sticking a couple of kisses onto the end of his email, which is like, no, I didn't want to send that. She's going to think I'm weird now. Until his boss sent him back another follow up email with a kiss attached to that, and then goes back and forth for a bit until he's like, look, look, I'm sorry about this. Like, it was a mistake. I didn't mean to type kiss until she's fully coming onto it. Until she hears like, oh, can I just promote you and we can forget this ever happened? Which I know it's possibly it wouldn't be funny for some people, but I found it slightly amusing. Anyway, as I said, that's kind of episode 2. Like other episodes would see Alison and Mike try camping while Buttonhouse is being fumigated for woodworm. Also would see Fanny Button, played once again by Martha Douglas, in a slightly scandalous affair, which the ghost's trying to work out who she's having an affair with, because she has to be having an affair with one of them, because only ghosts can have an affair with other ghosts. Until it's eventually revealed she's been having an affair with the headless body of Humphrey Bone. Until he puts his head back on and is like, look, if you want to do this, we can do it. She's like, no, you ruined it. And also a therapy session where on Kitty's, played by Lottie Adefope's, something like 363rd birthday, Alison tries to sit her down and kind of ask her about her relationship with her sister, which the other ghosts are hesitant about because they believe Kitty could crash out from this. But we also get to see some of Kitty's history in the past, and while she likes to imagine that her sister was the nicest possible girl, we the audience get to see she wasn't as nice as Kitty remembers. Which does add a bit more character development for Kitty, even though she still, by the end of the episode, remains somewhat blissfully unaware. However, the main crux of Series 3 of Ghosts focuses around, after the first episode where they end up filming the documentary, Alison ends up being contacted by a woman named Lucy, played by Jessica Knappett, who informs her that Alison might actually be her long-lost sister. And Alison is shocked to find out she has a sister named Lucy, and they eventually kind of try to form a bond over several episodes. In the final episode of the series, Lucy mentions that she's having problems with her business, and having saved up money originally intended for the purposes of redoing Button House, Alison and Mike go off to kind of pay them, or pay her, kind of give her some money for her to get her business up off the ground, only for the ghost to discover that Lucy is actually a con artist. And I do like the way they ultimately end up informing Alison of it, or how they try racing after the car, but it seems as though Alison and Mike are going to cross over the border out into the road and then they won't be able to get to them. However, Thomas had been trying to practice keepy-uppies earlier in the episode with Humphrey's head, to which Humphrey wasn't in the best mood about that, but then said to Thomas, "Kick me," and kicks his head. They're able to catch their attention and inform them what's going on, at which point Alison and Mike contact the police later on, to which when they asked Lucy why her, it's like, it wasn't personal, it was just a thing, I saw you on TV, thought I could get some money out of it. And it is a very sweet moment at the end when Alison and Mike prepare each other dinner and the ghosts can sit down with them. Even though Mike can't see them, it's still slightly fairly sweet. Anyway, this would be the last series where Casey Wicks would appear as Mary Guppy as a regular character, because I believe in Series 4 she ends up passing on, or moving on, later on in the series, which I'll talk about that when I get there. But I do also want to say that I think Katy as Mary Guppy had one of my favourite bits in the previous season, or really previous series, like, "Whoa!" I think I might have spoken about this last time. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, until she got sucked off. Huh? You know, oh, you mean moved on. Oh yeah, I mean, many people come here who've been sucked off, moved on. I used to dream about the day I would be sucked off, moved on. But I've long given up hope of ever being sucked off. Moving on! I still find that funny, but still, if you haven't checked out Ghosts as a series, I strongly suggest checking it out. I find it fun. I find it funny. And Series 3, it kept the momentum going. So 2 more series left to go of my kind of overall watch through of the show, but I'm enjoying it so far. That's my quick little review of Ghosts Series 3. What do you think of Ghost Series 3? Let me know down below in the comments. Anyway, until next time, see ya.